Action cameras have come a long way. The big players in this space have been GoPro, the original maker of the shape and design, and DJI. With each iteration of the GoPro and DJI action cameras, they have kind of played a game of seesaw with their feature releases. They haven't done a ton of earth-shattering stuff within the design, as they compete in things like sensor, processor, frame rates, and lately the flat profile in video that lets creators more easily grade it, as it captures more in the highlights than the shadows. But at the end of the day, these are still action cameras made for action and pocket and go style shooting. They certainly have a place in more intense video production, but that's not what they originally were made for, and that's not what a lot of the consumers that buy them are using them for. So it's really nice to see Insta360 coming into the specific design space of the action camera. Here is the Insta360 Ace Pro, the latest camera from a company that really likes to shake things up and push the envelope further in our efforts for creating content. Insta360 has done some really great things with their camera tech over the years, and I'm a huge fan. In this case, they've taken some of the tech and features that have worked in some of their other cameras, while also introducing some new stuff to make this an action camera that will likely position itself as something even better than GoPro and DJI. From capture to the final product in every little step along the way. To start, I will be talking about and reviewing the Ace Pro with this video, but Insta360 has released two cameras today. One is the Ace Pro, and one is the Ace. The Ace is the cheaper version at $379, while the Ace Pro delivers all the top features of this new camera model at a price of $449. This is in the range of other action cameras, with the GoPro Hero 12 and the DJI Action Cam 4 coming in at just under that at $399. Now, first thing, the design. The first thing about any camera that you notice is always the design, what it looks like. In this case, they did a great job checking a lot of boxes to make an action camera that is really good for its market users. They have made it with a grippier surface than either the DJI or GoPro action cameras, which is something that you want for when you are carrying it around for some handheld footage. It also has a little heft to it, which makes it feel more substantial of a tool and less like a toy. Part of that heft is in the base, thanks to things like their magnet system for mounts. The magnet setup helps to give one more point of mounting for different mounts, including this optional quick release mount, which will snap on by magnet and then secures with a little lock press here. But another part that adds to this heft is the fantastic 2.4-inch flip screen. This is something that other action cameras do not have, and it's very, very well built. Flip screens on cameras can be flimsy, but this one is excellent. So let's talk about the screen. When running with the Insta360 Ace Pro, I found out instantly something that I didn't think I would love: the ability to cleanly compose shots using the flip screen. When I run with an action camera, I normally keep it around stomach level or chest level, but with other cameras, you cannot see what you are shooting. Most of the time, given the wide field of view from action cameras, that's not a big deal. But it definitely was nice to be able to just flip the screen up and see everything and have access to controls to change things on the fly. Speaking of changing things, this largest in class screen lets you easily punch through various settings and options without having to carefully push a tiny icon like you would if you're using the front screen of the DJI Action 4. The GoPro doesn't have a touchscreen on the front of the display, rather it's for viewing for composing, so it's a tiny screen to see what the camera is seeing. But the DJI does have a touchscreen on the front. However, it is tiny to push settings on. The Insta360 Pro gives you the best of both worlds, since you just flip the screen up if you want to go to selfie mode. In selfie mode, you get a much better look at your shot for composition and things like focus and lighting with a larger screen. Unless you want to hold the camera a couple feet from your face, the other cameras are not going to help with this. With the Insta360 Ace Pro, I can put it on the multi-mount and still see the composition and picture from quite a few feet away. Now let's talk about features. So what else sets this apart from other action cameras? The Insta360 has put AI into the camera to help you when you're shooting clips. They call this the AI Highlights Assistant. And it lets the camera detect what it determines are the best moments in a single video clip, and then it shows you those highlights to review. You can choose to keep or delete it, and this assistant can help you get rid of video that you won't end up needing while keeping the highlights from whatever you've shot. This is great for saving storage space on your camera and saving time later on when you upload it to the app to make sure that you're not overloading and filtering through tons of footage that you may have shot where you really only are looking for those key clips that the highlight assistant will help pull out for you. You can also connect it to the app to get an AI edited video. This is something the other camera companies offer that will grab and make some cool videos without you having to do anything. So it's good to see Insta360 having it for this camera also. But Insta360 is the only one to have an AI assisted feature built into the camera. One of the things with the app to note, as long as we're talking about the app, is the fact that it can download your footage from the camera to the app on your iPhone without it having to stay in the foreground of your phone. It will show the progress and updates in the dynamic island, or if you have the phone off, it'll show you on the lock screen the progress, or you can go to any other app you want and keep the footage transferring from the camera to the app without having to be stuck on just the app while all those gigabytes of video that you just shot are transferring. The GoPro and DJI apps, you have to keep those in the foreground to keep transferring the footage successfully. As a runner, this next one is something that I really like. Garmin used to make a 360 action camera years ago that would have stats on the final video overlaid to show you things like your pace, speed, and distance. But Insta360 has gone ahead and created a dedicated integration setup with Garmin and Apple Watch devices so that you can include an overlay on your video of all the fun metrics right from inside the Insta360 app. This is incredibly easy and cool. It makes for a great way to shoot a race video and have the dashboard overlay showing those metrics that other action enthusiasts would enjoy seeing. It's really so simple, just a matter of pairing with Garmin or Apple and giving permission for the integration to occur within the app, and then you get to select the metrics you want to see. One of the cool parts about this is that since it syncs with your device and time, it'll show you stats from the overall activity like distance, but it'll also show you the live stats of things like pace and speed. So instead of it starting over right there for the video, it will show you how far you've gone from the beginning of your run or your activity, not just from when the video started. I've been playing with this feature for a bit, and since many of my action videos are done during running or races, this is a huge one that I love. No third-party software and editing, just click and tap right in Insta360's own app, and now you get it all displayed for a nice visual of how fast you're going, your route, and things like that. I'm using this for a turkey trot race later this week, so it'll be the first full race owl video with the Insta360 Ace Pro. It's my daughter's longest race yet, so it'll be a nice memory for her to have the video and all the data of our run right in the same clip. Speaking of the same clip, the Insta360 Ace Pro has a built-in feature that will let you pause recording and then resume, keeping all of that as just one clip. This is a nice little touch that will save you headaches from having dozens of few-second clips to filter through later. Another part of this is that you can even go into your album and click the red dot on any video to begin recording at the end of that clip. So if you do shut off the camera and you want to return to it later and add more to a certain clip, you can do that, and again, you won't be having 50 videos that are all like 10 to 15 seconds long. You can put it all in one clip. When it comes to more features for easier recording, the Ace Pro has gesture and voice control that lets you start the recording or take a photo just using those control points. You can set either gesture or voice control for your interface, start, stop, and both of them work very well. As long as it can see your face and your hands, you'll be able to start video recording just by giving your gesture. All these various features make the Ace Pro a better action camera for the market it services, those who want to record their adventures or travels, etc. It helps you quickly get to the features you need and even some things you may not have thought of needing before this. Basically, it makes this action camera do its job in capturing and delivering your adventures to you in a more seamless and effective way.
Now let's get to quality. You can buy an action camera on Amazon for like 15 bucks. And they'll even have some of the software features that a more expensive action camera would offer. But if it doesn't have the photo and video quality, then what really is the point of buying such an action camera? Especially when people are viewing stuff on higher resolution screens today. Fortunately, Insta360 did a really good job when it came to the quality department. They partnered with Leica to make sure that the quality of the capturing is done at the highest levels, especially in such a small device. So the quality both in photo and video at all resolutions, 1080 up to 4K 120, is really excellent and compares very nicely and beats out even the DJI and GoPro in the quality department. Now, I did some comparison shooting with all those cameras to test out stabilization and quality, and you can see in the DJI Action 4 that it's a little bit darker. The blues are a little bit more saturated. It has a nice image to it. The GoPro actually looks a little bit lighter And I find the Insta360 to be a good balance between the two, where you still have some information in the shadows and the highlights while still being able to give some nice color punch to it. And one of the things they've done with the recording features of this is that any of the modes at 4K, 30 frames per second or below, automatically engages what they call active HDR. Now HDR is something that can often give you that very cartoonish looking, very saturated look to your footage. But Insta360 has done a good job of balancing the HDR to be able to give you the greatest depth of detail in shadows and highlights, to give you a nice little color over it as well, all without having to do anything extra. You're simply turning it on. As long as it's 4K 30 or below, active HDR is automatically engaged, and that's what we're shooting in right now, 4K 30 with the active HDR turned on. And also something they offer too is a 2-time clarity zoom. This lets you punch in with just simply double tapping on the screen, which I'll show, and you don't want to see it really that close anyway. That lets you expand it as well. And it gives it to you in a real sharp format that looks really good, especially compared to DJI and GoPro.
Now let's talk battery life. Battery life is always a tough thing with action cameras. Manufacturers are packing so much into such a compact package that compromises have to be made in places. Most of the time, battery life is the best compromise. Since you can swap out batteries and how fast a battery drains is based on frame rates and resolution, a normal user can end up getting a lot more time out of a battery than someone pushing for the best capture settings. And anyone can swap out a battery in seconds. The Ace Pro delivers some really good battery life. On 4K 30 mode, which engages the active HDR, and by shutting off the AI Highlights Assistant, I was able to get the 100 minutes that Insta360 advertises on a battery. The good thing is that you can fast charge it up to 80% in just 22 minutes, and 46 minutes will give you the full charge. Finally, let's talk about stabilization. This is the area where action cameras live or die. What good is a feature set or build quality if the footage makes you want to puke while you're watching it? Fortunately, the stabilization in camera is good, plus it has something called horizon lock, which is something of magic. Available in the free frame mode and applied in the app, this actually keeps it on a level view, even if you turn the camera completely around. It will do a crop in, but when you look at it, it's hard to imagine that you actually have been twisting the camera everywhere and it's still keeping it with the horizon locked in place. Now let's look at the comparison of the Insta360 Ace Pro against the GoPro Hero 12, the DJI Action 4, and for fun, I threw the iPhone 15 Pro in with action mode on. When you kick in the action mode on the iPhone, it cuts the resolution to 2.8K, but the other cameras are all set to 4K at 60 frames per second. As you can see, they're all fairly similar. You have to take into account that I have them on the same foot-long plate and that I'm hand-holding it, which accounts for some tilt due to the weight. But by and large, the stabilization of them is pretty similar. I had the Insta360 Ace Pro set to medium for that video. There are several different levels you can activate on the camera, depending on the type of activity that you are going to be filming while you're using it. You can take it from off, low, medium, or high. Since it has various mounts it can attach to, there are going to be plenty of ways to carry this for activities. Head mounts, wrist mounts, chest mounts, selfie sticks, car mounts, bike mounts, whatever. Whatever is available for the GoPro will work on here when you attach one of the base mounts. So for my main audience of travelers, runners, cyclists, how does this hold up? It has some of the main features that the other action cameras offer, like up to 4K at 120 frames per second for slow motion, as well as being waterproof up to 10 meters and sporting some great stabilization. But it also offers a larger screen, which is great for framing, menu access, and even creative holding for shots that will take an accessory or two with the other cameras. It also offers a great app that will let you edit right in the app, while still letting the built-in AI Highlights Assistant in the camera cut down some of your clips to pull out just the best parts of those clips, which will save you time and storage. The build quality is great, which is one of the key reasons to use an action camera in use cases like adventures and travel over using a smartphone. An iPhone can do some really great content creation, but you don't really want to drop your $1,000 plus smartphone when out on an adventure or traveling, and then you're stuck with no communication device if it breaks. An action camera can stand up to the abuse that such content capture brings while still delivering great content. I love the tight integration with Garmin and Apple to apply your sport metrics onto the final video. It's so simple and it's a great move for them to make. I've used most Insta360 cameras that have been made for the consumer and prosumer, and I currently own the Go 2 and the 360 X3. I find that they've done an awesome job of producing different cameras for different use cases while porting some of the best features across them all. In this case, you are getting the best of Insta360 in an action camera form factor that will deliver amazing footage to take anyone with you along on your next adventure or travel. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped out, and I'll have some more videos in the future about extra things you can do with it, getting creative with it, and diving a little bit deeper into comparisons with the other cameras.